leave me a comment on YouTube with your email address, and I will send you 2 free complimentary worksheets to go along with this video. So I wanted to make a front walk cycle because I have this idea for a lesson where students would design fashions and we would do a group project of models walking down a catwalk. But I needed some reference, and I found it with the artist Kevin Farias on Instagram. So I just want to show you the reference images that I used. I had to go way back to something that he posted in 2017. But anyway, look at that. That's really just a great reference walk cycle, and he had some really wonderful reference photos. He had really fantastic reference images for both a female and a male walk cycle. So let me show you the male one real quick. Very, very useful. So I used the walk cycle guide from Kevin Farias's Instagram account, which was really helpful. And I used graph paper to make sure that all my figures were the same size, and I drew my own walk cycle, as you can see here, following the steps, the contact, the passing, etc., high point, that Kevin Farias did. So I did that. Then I used tracing paper to create fancy hats for each one, and also hair. So the idea is that, you have secondary action, and that the feather is going to have its own sort of bouncy movements. Its hair is going to have its own bouncy movements apart from the walk cycle, and that creates secondary action. Now, on to photographing your work using an iPhone. Click on the screen and up the exposure so that you get better lighting. And then line up your camera with the corner of the paper. In this case, I taped my paper to a piece of graph paper, and I ended up lining up the corner with the corner of the graph paper. That minimizes how crooked your picture is. Try and hold your picture flat over the paper so that you don't get distortions. So then now I'm going to show you my editing process. So I cropped it, I turned it, I cropped it. Then I messed with the exposure, the black point, the contrast. And then I used the filter Noir. Doing this, it'll be just pure black and white. You won't have any tinges of color, and it'll be high contrast. It'll look almost like a black and white scan. You can even change the exposure to get rid of, and the contrast to get rid of the grid lines from the graph paper. So the graph paper is actually dead useful because it makes sure that your image is straight on the page. But you can, if it's not quite straight, you can rotate it a little. It's going to be a slightly different size than the figure drawing, but you can edit that later when you get it onto the computer. Now, the next thing is, it's an HEIC file, which is a very compressed file used only by Apple. So I happen not to have a Mac computer. So if you take that image and you email it to yourself, it will automatically convert within the email to a JPEG. So here I am emailing it to myself, and I'm making sure that it is full size. And it will convert to a JPEG, so when I open it up on my computer, I will have a JPEG image at the full size. So that is some of the prep work that I did ahead of animating this walk cycle. Remember to leave me a comment on YouTube with your email address if you'd like some free worksheets.